So Kiki, just start again for me. Sorry, just introduce yourself and the introduction about what we're going to do today.
Okay. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kike Lomo. I'm presenting to you this afternoon, newborn baby first birth in Yoruba ethnic group of Nigeria. This is map of Nigeria, and there are 3 ethnic groups in Nigeria. We have Hausa in the northern part of the country, Igbo in the eastern part of Nigeria, while Yoruba, which I'm speaking about, is from the southwestern of Nigeria. The Yoruba ethnic group is an ethnic group found in the southern part of Nigeria and other parts of West African country. In 2013, the total number of Yoruba people in Nigeria was reported to be 36 million, according to the CIA World Fact Book, making them to be one of the largest ethnic group in Africa. And the main language is Yoruba. Now, about baby's arrival. The arrival of new baby is always special and a reason to celebrate. Cultures around the world have special rituals to welcome their babies in different ways, and in Nigeria as well. A baby first traditional birth is sacred and very important. The Yoruba community in Nigeria have a special birthing ritual for babies. Babies are traditionally given their first birth by the paternal grandmother or an experienced person in the family. It usually consists of scrubbing the baby's skin with palm oil. They rub the palm oil and the natural sponge to get off all the gums, keep the skin of the baby to moisturize, and also to allow the pores to open. It's also believed to keep their skin soft, smooth throughout their life by giving them a good start in life. That is part of their belief. Now, if you don't mind, I'm going to show you a video clip so that you can really see how the first baby, how they bath them when they comes out. I'm going to show the YouTube of it. Oh, sorry. I'm going to, it's a little bit, yeah, I want to show you the clip.
I'm trying to click.
Yes. Thank you. This is how it's being done.
Did you press the sound, Lydia?
Yeah, we need to pause the sound because I just want you to observe the way the oil is being rubbed on the body of the baby, because the woman is speaking in Yoruba language, which you cannot understand. So it's better to just see the video.
Is that the palm oil?
That is,
Oh.
yeah, the palm oil. And now she's now using the hard sponge
Okay.
to wash the baby's skin.
And Kiki Lomo, is this literally done a few hours after birth, or a few days, or what is it? There's a time frame?
It's done immediately after.
Immediately.
Just, yes, maybe let's give it maybe 6 hours after the
Okay.
baby is delivered.
And I'm noticing there is only female people there. Is it only women invited, or are?
Yeah, they're showing them how to do it, so that if they have their own, they're showing them
It's
how
like
to
a
wash the baby.
tutorial.
Yes, like me, I can't do it.
Oh, right. So
It's
it's
very, I can't do
generations.
it because I can't do it. It's very scary to me. I can't hold it like this. So they need to show. So to show people, so that if they have their baby, if there's no elderly person around, they're just showing them how to do it.
So these are the aunts and the mother of the baby.
Yes, this is the elderly. Yes, the other women. This is elderly woman in the family that is washing the baby. Now she's using oil. She has finished bathing the baby. The red powder is traditionally used as well to rub the baby's skin, like Johnson & Johnson powder we use nowadays. But in my tribe, this is what they use.
The baby looks very calm, considering.
I think the baby is bigger than just immediately, because the umbilical is quite.
Yeah,
Okay.
like
But that's for tutorials. That's right.
it's tutorial, but like it can be like my first child. I have him at about 5 kilo. So
Yeah, I'm looking at his umbilical.
yeah, it can be. And they normally clean the baby's mouth as well, because they believe that while the baby was in the womb, it's not washing the mouth, and by coming to life now, probably if they don't wash the baby, if they don't wash the mouth will be smelling afterwards. So the first day of the baby, they need to put water with some herbs. I don't know. They wash the baby's mouth for the first time, which the woman has done now. Now she wants to massage the baby.
God.
This side you are washing is very important. That's the very most important part of bathing the baby first day.
I wonder
She's
what
bending,
Bab thinks of that massage.
yeah, she's bending the legs now.
See, the baby's enjoying the massage.
Yes.
Can that be done by the maternal grandmother?
Yes, because they are perfect. See, she's tossing the baby to the hair. So she's telling us that it's very important to toss the baby to the hair, so that the baby afterwards, he will not fear of anything. So that's their belief.
Can you say that again, Kiki?
She's tossing the baby to the hair. She's throwing him up so that in the future, the baby will not fear of anything. So this is regarding the bath. I want you to, this is very important, like the palm oil, the traditional sponge, you're seeing that the woman is using to wash the baby. The traditional red powder you see that she put in the bowl there, and some herbs mixtures in the water. So you can go on to the next slide. So so this is the massage of the baby. Usually she did not do the number one, but they like some parents, some grandma, they used to hold the legs of the baby and turn the baby upside down and shake the baby round just within a second. That is, and you see her twisting the little hands behind the baby and bending the knees to touch the baby back. And also they used hot water, lukewarm water, to massage the stomach down to the hips. They massage it down, and also the baby's leg, as you see it, as you've seen it in the video. You can go on to the next slide, please. So here are some risks of doing that, because it do happens, which we need to be careful of. This is a practice that normally is adopted. Like me, when I was in Africa, when they are doing this, I don't so much like it because it's very scary to me. So, but this is the belief. And the risk behind it is that when some babies, when they're carrying them up, due to this, the mothers, we should be very careful and not to follow it. Also, some of the ladies nowadays, they don't normally follow it, because there are some incidents that has happened, which it didn't show up in the video, but or that can occur. So, like the sponge, using on the skin is still very light, and by using it on the skin, it can remove some protective skin things that cover the skin. So it's very risky using that sponge on the baby's body. So, and by putting all these herbs, a new baby that is born in a day, by using a mixture that the babies are not yet used to. So when putting all these things, it can be poisonous to them, which can lead to death. So now it's part of what is very harmful, that we, the children of nowadays, back in Africa, in my culture, we don't normally do it because of the enlightenment, because of education that they are now doing. So twisting the baby's leg as well, which you have seen, is dangerous. Tossing baby up is not ideal, because if they miss the control, also is very dangerous as well. So that is it. Please, I need the next slide. So I have some tips for newborn babies, which the way we used to do it nowadays. This is the way I do it now with my own children. When I want to bath them, I have to produce all this before giving them bath. So this is how we do it step by step. We need to focus on this, to do everything very gently, because they are still very fragile, and we should very concerned about it. The way we hold them, we should prepare everything very well, so that we don't harm them. Please, I need the next slide. So this is, I just demonstrated here how to wash them step by step. washing using the flannel or very soft sponge to wash them from head to toe and to massage them gently. We need to be conscious of everything we are doing, and after all, we need to massage them gently so that we don't harm them. They are still very fragile. I need the next slide, please. So this is the end of the slide. If you have any question regarding the birth, you can ask me, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Kiki.
That was so fascinating. So fascinating. I was kind of like, oh my goodness, that baby, but actually the baby was enjoying it and looked really calm. And I just wondered if we saw that here, what we might think and how we can perceive things quite differently, and you know, safeguarding alerts might come to mind, and potentially how we might not understand the cultural aspects of why these things happen. But it sounds like those are already addressed by doing alternatives in this country as well. But yeah, I was a bit scared when I saw that, if I'm honest. But it was so fascinating.
So Kiki, you said it's getting less so even in Nigeria. Is it? Have you ever met people, you know, that the Nigerian people within the UK that are still carrying out the custom?
Actually, I never see it here because when I had my babies, I don't do it. So
Yeah.
it's not, as I told you, it's very, to me, it's scary to me because I've witnessed it in Africa. I witnessed it because actually when we have when a new baby is born in Africa, we children, we normally witness it, go to the parents, we see how we welcome the baby with the family. So that very day is when they do it. And gradually, every day they minimize it. So maybe 2 weeks, after 2 weeks, then they stop it.
Yeah.
Is it more common? It's widely kind of spread in Nigeria. Is it more common in urban than rural, or vice versa? Just like kind of giving the bath is, how common is the giving the baby's bath similar to what we watched?
Actually, in my tribe, in the old days, it's a cultural thing that they do. It's cultural things that they do. So it's compulsory in my tribe, Yoruba land.
Oh, okay.
But now, because of education and awareness, it's I don't think they're doing it again. Because of the awareness. As I told you, in the possible risk, is very risky because as the woman is tossing the baby up, if she doesn't hold it well, if baby fall down, it's dangerous. So that is it. It's not. I think it's not. I don't think they are doing it like that again because of the awareness.
It is something that happens in West Africa in general, to be fair. And some people, I mean, it's still, my son had the same thing done, so it's still going on. It's just different. It's kind of tweaked differently for different tribes, I guess. But the palm oil bath is standard in West African culture.
Do you remember how you felt, Davinia, when you saw your child have it then?
Do you know what? I wasn't actually worried because it was done to me. It's done to my mum. It's done to all, like, you know, and my mum did my son's one. She didn't throw him up in the air, but she did do the stretching, and she did the whole, like, you know, she washed him with black soap and all of that and rubbed him in shea butter afterwards. He slept for hours afterwards. But funnily enough, he didn't cry at all. It's like an extreme version of our baby massage, I guess, if you want to look at it that way. But they really do, they're calm. Like, my son did not cry at all. He just kind of looked there wide-eyed, like, oh my gosh. But he didn't he was fine. Afterwards, had a bottle and he was out cold for hours.
Yeah, it's really weird because in Trinidad, they do the same thing. They don't use the palm oil and they don't bathe the children with the scrub and the palm, but they do that massage and they use coconut oil, pure coconut oil. And I remember my mom massaging my son and stretching the legs up and dangling him upside down. And I wouldn't look because I think in Jesus, if she dropped my child, she and I gonna have words. But I guess the thing is, that's part of, I probably been through that, turning upside down, but I guess it's part of what the older folks do. You know, they massage the baby with the coconut oil and they stretch. They take the two arms and they stretch it
Stretch
across.
it.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's something we
Yeah.
do in Trinidad as well. But we
Yeah,
just
we
don't do the
do.
palm oil bath. We use the coconut oil for massaging and they stretch the baby
And they
legs and stuff
stretch.
and
Yeah,
turn them
we
upside down.
yeah. Same for us. We do the same thing as well now. The stretching and the creaming. I remember my mum doing it with Tia and that. So yeah, I don't know, the stretching and the creaming to get in between all the creases and, you know, the bending of their limbs. I don't know if they're just testing everything's working and running up and down all right.
It's
Yeah.
interesting though, because if you think about it, like when you look at the history of slavery and everything else, it's just quite fascinating how that tradition
Just
has,
carry on.
how it's continued
Yeah.
despite all of that turmoil, you know, because a lot of Caribbean people have had, you know, derived from West Africa, and the majority of West Africa still carry on with that tradition. So it's quite amazing actually.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think I agree with you, Davinia. My son didn't cry. He was quite relaxed. It looked like I was the one who was scared, especially when she turned him upside down. But he was just calm and quiet. And after that, she put on the little vest and the little diaper. I remember cloth diaper in those days, and she put this big cloth diaper with the pin and a bottle, and he was out. So I don't think the children is be affected in one sense. I don't think I'm affected up to now. Yeah.
Brilliant. It's just so fascinating. I will be thinking about that for quite some time, I think. I loved it. Shall we thank you, Kiki, for that? That was excellent. Any other questions for Kiki in there? Otherwise, we'll move on to Azar. I think it's Azar next.
Oh, it's me next. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kiki. Thank you.
Thank you, Kiki.
Thank you. It was
I'm going to try to share my slide. That's window. That's me. And do you see it?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll try to make it slideshow. Okay. Is it shown as slideshow?
It is.
Okay, so basically I was chosen to do Middle East, cultural and traditional, doing perinatal period in Middle East. I thought first, that's okay, I'm from Middle East, namely from Iraq, so that would be easy. But then I thought, oh my God, actually in Iraq we are so diverse. So not yet the whole Middle East. But then I thought, okay, I'm maybe up to the challenge, I'll do it. But then it's still difficult, but hopefully I can grab and and give you a nice presentation. So basically I divided the presentation to two. Have I lost the, oh my God, where's the screen?
It's changing for us.
And why is that?
Press something.
Maybe I moved the mouse.
Oh, it's gone now, Azar.
Yeah, I'll try to show it again. Yeah, do you see it?
Perfect. Yeah.
Okay. So I divided two parts. One about the Middle East, and then the cultural and traditional in the Middle East, because I kind of narrowed down. I cannot talk about the whole cultural and tradition Middle East. So just to let you know that there are 7 countries in Middle East. The word Middle East, initially considered by British India Office in 1850s, and that's include from Arabic country to India in 1902. Then the definition of Middle East in that area, it's kind of considered as around Persian Arab Gulf. Then they allowed it to extend it to Asia region, to territory extended to India. Then before the Second World War, it's called Near East, kind of another term to kind of around Mediterranean and Turkey. And there's another changes in 1930, there's another changes later on, until in 1946, the Middle East Institute began in Washington, USA. So that from that kind of more of, there is a term of Middle East containing these 17 countries. And this is the map of Middle East. And that's Iraq. That's the one in the middle. That's my home country. So basically, Middle East is very widely known and famously known as a cradle of civilization. There's the world's earliest civilization, Mesopotamia, that's Sumer, Akkad, Assyrian, Babylon, and there's also Egypt and Kish. It's basically all originated in the fertile area between Tigris and Euphrates, and also Nile Valley. And followed that, too many civilizations happened, and it's basically very long list, couldn't try them all. So the ethnic group in that area, Arab constitute the largest ethnic group in the Middle East, followed by Iranian and then Turkish people. There's a lot of other ethnic groups in the region, but also there's kind of for the last decades, there's a different ethnic group added to the list from people coming to work due to work related. Religion, Middle East is very diverse with regard to religion. Nearly like the main three religions originated there: Islam, Christianity, and Judaism. There's also lots of minority religions, is Baha'i, there's Yazidi, Mandelism, Druze, Shabak, so I'm saying that in Arabic. There's also other faiths brought by people who migrate to the area. The languages, the top languages in the area is Arabic, Persian, Turkish, and there's other languages there, in addition to English and French, which is taught in schools and some media facilities. And because of immigrants, also there's Bengali, Hindu, and Urdu spoken in the Middle East. Economy is also diverse and varies, from very poor countries like in Gaza and Yemen to extremely wealthy nations like in Qatar and Emirates. Climate also varies from very hot to dry, which is the common weather there, to snowy in the mountains. So it's like, if you can see the geography of Middle East, you can see lots of desert, but at the same time, lots of green mountainous area there. The second part of the presentation is about cultural and traditional during perinatal period. And because the majority or kind of population there are Arabs and Muslims, so I narrow it down to those two. So for those kind of, as a tradition, the most important tradition, it's commonly agreed in that in this area, is that the first 3 months, with regard like and dislike things, the morning sickness for women, if women crave for any type of food and they don't have what they crave for, they usually a mark in the baby's skin will appear. So they tend to provide women whatever she craves for. They usually announce about pregnancy after the first trimester. Women, for the women who are kind of prime, the first baby, gets lots of support from her family and her husband's family. That include anything like food, looking after her physically, her sleep, etc. Women mother usually prepare the baby's needs and belongings, such as clothes, coat, baggies, and that starts from 7 months of pregnancy. So women in general are encouraged to say certain prayers. So when I say prayers, I didn't find kind of prayers in English. There's a 5 prayers a day for Muslim, and that's like saying rituals. But there's also called salah in Arabic, and there's other prayers which I can say it while I'm sitting there. So it's like just saying called that dua. But in English, both of them say kind of prayers. So I think they are talking about prayers in as saying alongside with the 5 prayers a day. So basically, after they saying prayers, they blow on the stomach and place the hand on the stomach. So basically, that can be recited on a daily basis, and just basically wishing the good health for the mom and the baby. So the other things with regard to food, they dislike, commonly in most of these countries, they refrain from eating food containing spice. Most of them, they are seen by only female doctors, nurses, and midwives to assess the perinatal care, like to be present during labor or delivery. There's no cultural or religious rule against this, but a lot of females already choose a male doctor to see them during pregnancy. But in general, kind of private hospital and also state-run hospitals, the male family member are not allowed to go to the labor area or delivery area. So if someone to be present in the delivery, it's usually a family member, and it's usually from her side, the woman's side, maternal side. As you know, as a Muslim, we have Ramadan when we fast for a month, and it's long, month-long in Islamic period, observed by all Muslim who can fast, of course. But during pregnancy, most of Arab/Muslim women do not fast. And after giving birth, it depends if she's breastfeeding. She choose not to fast because there's any worries about producing milk. They are basically having a permission to do so. So there's also in general, when I read when I collect information from Google forums, social media, and from my community and other friends send me information. They also having a bit of tradition regarding the sex of the baby. So they think there's a type of food women can crave for the shape of the abdomen, how the fetus moving. They can predict if it is the baby is a boy or a girl. Seems like that's quite common as well. Most of traditions and these things can be seen in a rural area, but it's also still practiced and believed in the urban area. Certainly by one of my friends who sent me this information as well. There's a lot of, they also use a lot of certain herbs to feel and be healthy, as using herb mainly as a drink, as a tea herb, during pregnancy and postnatally as well. Before and during labor time, home delivery is still common in this area. Previously, decades ago, there's a very well-known, respected, wise old woman called Jeddah or Qabila. That's basically to deliver the woman. It's basically because a lot of women want to deliver at home, so a lot of health estates they certify midwives to deliver women at home, and if they can be delivered, if they cannot be delivered safely, the certified midwife can take the woman to hospital. During labor, they also saying prayers in the name of Allah, God, and they do ablution, bathing, they do massaging around the kind of abdominal area. They take hot bath, walking. There's some drink oil, and they oil the area as well to just like to make kind of more relaxing or make the delivery easy. Some they feel drinking boiled cumin, eating dates. I think eating dates is quite important. I'll discuss that in postnatal. Some it's like to take away the kind of evil spirit, or it's like envy, the untidy note. They put Quran over their head and there's basically saying prayers. Then postnatally, they also this like of drinking water boiled with onion skin, drinking coffee, applying hot compress and tying the waist. It's like a corset. Eat sweet food, eat cooked walnut, and there's a lot of kind of communities that the nuts postnatally is quite important. It's like mainly to produce milk, and also herbal teas. Before giving birth, so the woman, pregnant woman, before giving birth, usually kind of weeks before giving birth, she either go to her family's house or her mom or one of her relatives comes to her house, and they would stay weeks after that to be looked after. After delivery, they received hot oil massage for weeks, kind of on a daily basis. The preferable oil is sesame oil, but also that depends on the season and the country. That practice can last for 40 days. 40 days is quite important in this country. 40 days, they think, is this kind of time when the baby and the woman are quite vulnerable and they need a lot of support. The baby's bathing, it's like when the baby take a bath, and the baby clothes and belongings should only clean by special soap, and seems like the usual soap they are using are olive oil soap. I think they think it's quite gentle. During this period when they go home or after delivery, they avoid cold weather, even in a very, so you can imagine it's very hot countries, but they have to avoid cold weather even in a very hot summertime. That's kind of also commonly agreement of kind of having bath in salted water to sterile the area and also to make it stronger. They avoid cold food, spicy food, or any food containing pulses to avoid gases. Some keep Quran in the room, others like scissor or needle. I think scissor and needle to take the spirits or the envy, I don't know. But they keep praying, they keep saying praying, just like for the baby and themselves. Women are during that time, they don't leave her on her own. They don't allow, women who have period to visit the newly delivered mom. Some not letting mother to go out until 40 days. They don't allow the mom to take part in any funerals, or some they don't allow stranger to see the baby. So, and also when there's a guest, usually they separate the mom and the baby from the guest in a different room, and they wear the blue beads. I assume people went to Turkey, they can see a lot of blue eyes or blue beads. It's quite common in this area. Okay, so generally, I think in all communities so far, I heard about the same kind of sentence: eating healthy food, plenty of fluid, Generally, the general kind of type of food is soup. And it would be different from different country depending on the ingredients in that country. But it's that kind of a general dish can provide moms with. Eating dates, it's quite important for lots of women, especially Muslims, because they do believe that when Maryam gave birth to Jesus, God provide her with palm tree with dates, and that's to basically enable her to produce milk to feed him. So it's very common eating dates, and also herbal teas, nuts, just to support kind of producing milk. It's really nice having the first presentation about bathing, because it's also bathing is different from one country to another in this area. Let's say, for example, I don't know, it may be Egypt, part of African country, they bathe the child on the same day. But like in Iraq, we bathe child in the 7th day postnatally. And as I said, in Iraq, they use olive oil soap. That's the last slide. So nearly all countries celebrate the baby and the mother on the same 7th day. So basically in Egypt called Isbu', in Iraq just like that, the 7 days to celebrate, because they think the first week is really important to have the baby and the mom to have a proper rest before receiving congratulations. On the same day of delivery, when the baby is delivered, wrapped and cleaned and given to the father to recite adhan, and that's Islamic call to prayer, gently to the baby's ear. I'm going to play and just let me know if you can hear it. Where am I?
There's no sound.
There's no sound.
Yeah, you have to, when you share your screen, there's a little button you press.
Okay.
To share the sound.
Okay, how I can
unshare and then share again.
Okay, so okay. Okay,
so just before you click on opening it again, there should be a little thing at the top, include sound.
It says share content, and if you look to the right under the word leave, it should be there as a.
It's share content and there's
click. Yeah, okay. Click where it says include computer sound.
Yeah, got it. Okay. Do you see it now?
Yeah, you're on that slide, and then you just.
Okay, so.
Oh yeah, we can hear it.
Okay, that's great. So that's the adhan. That's the first adhan the baby hears when after being born. So and then the 7th day, as I said, most of countries they celebrate that on the 7th day. They sacrifice an animal, and that's also taken from religion when basically Prophet Ibrahim sacrificed an animal for his son Prophet Ismail, and just basically to do the same, and the meat is basically given to the poor relatives and neighbors. So as I said, women during this period are kind of considered as quite vulnerable, and they need to be looked after. Just to mention about kind of old things that women can do and now become rarely to very rarely happening because of widespread education from states there, health states there, is so it's like in some I couldn't find it anywhere, but just because I worked in a rural country ages ago in my previous life, and we saw a few cases when babies came with having eyeliner and they had lead poisoning as a result. And that's basically kind of somehow educated, like to prevent that from happening. I think it's becoming very rare nowadays compared to before. I think that's kind of one of the traditions that the baby can look kind of nicer with eyeliner. But just I saw it when I worked in the rural area, in a very remote area there. But it's getting, to my understanding, is getting less and less. Okay, that's my presentation. Hoping that I managed to gather a bit of information. Yep, thank you.
Great.
Any question?
Thank you, Azar. That was lovely, but I got rather distracted by thinking, is that a dog behind Jill? So I was too busy looking at that all of a sudden. But are there any questions for Azar? That was really interesting. Really, really good. Has anyone got any?
I had a question, Azar. Do husbands go to see the delivery of baby? You mentioned that it was just mainly females go, but
yeah, basically I gave birth to my children in this country and both cesarean section. So yeah, he was sitting next to my head, doing nothing basically, just doing that.
your hand, hopefully.
Yeah. So I think in there the husband is not allowed. Still kind of practice the husband is not allowed. It's mainly her mom, and if her mom not there, that would be a sister, or if the sister old enough, or then the aunties, one of the aunties, and preferably one of her maternal auntie to be present, to present a mom kind of caring role. Any other questions?
Say that again, Leela. I think we both spoke at the same time and didn't hear.
Just saying, very interesting.
Yeah. I remember, I mean, traditionally, years and years ago, it used to be just women, even in this country, used to just go in and deliver, and men weren't allowed before. Okay, any more questions?
Yeah, Azar, you were just saying there that they like, was it that they don't like to see strangers and stuff like that? Was that in that one? They don't like to see strangers.
Yeah,
I'm wondering, do they allow professionals into the home?
I'll tell you what, that's something I found it in one of the social media forums. So what's happened is, when I start searching, couldn't find any Arabic literature or something about perinatal culture and all these things. What I found, a study about the difference between Iranian and Turkish. So then I went to the social kind of media, Facebook and forums, and then I sent a WhatsApp message to my Iraqi community and Arab community, and that's sent to me. And I think not seeing a stranger, that's taken from the study, the difference between Turkish and Iranian, and it just kind of one line. And I don't think that's included professionals.
Okay.
Because what's happened the 7th day and afterward, and that's happened, it's written, it happened more in rural. So if like the whole village, if they hear a woman gave birth, so they kind of it's a duty to visit a woman who gave birth, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
To share celebration. So if they don't know, they don't allow to see the baby. That's my understanding. I don't think it's, that's what I'm saying. It's even in Iraq, we have a very diverse communities. Like north of Iraq is different from middle, different from south. So that's something I read rather than about experience.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's nice. Shukran.
Yes.
Okay.
Thanks, Karina, for joining. Okay, shall we move on to the next one, or do we want a quick break, 2-3 minutes? Or should we just keep going?
Keep going.
Keep going?
Okay.
Okay, so I think next up is Aristina.
Okay. Hi everyone. Let me see where I can be able to share. Oh. It's taking time. Okay.
It's come through.
Okay. So yeah, it's not all that wide enough. I don't know how I can be able to enlarge
I think it's fine. Is
Okay.
everybody okay with it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I'm going to present the perinatal in maternal sorry, I'm going to present about perinatal in Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe is a southern country and it is a landlocked country. We are in the southern part of the hemisphere of Africa. We childbirth is very important and it links to physical, psychological, social, and spiritual components. When I was preparing this presentation, I also did a small research of why it is important to do culture here in perinatal, because there are a lot of migration in this country. So many people or many cultures have settled in this in London, whereby we are serving a multicultural group of people with various languages and various background. Oh, apologies, I don't know why my sharing is so poor.
You're on page 3 now.
Well, I needed to be on page 2, but because of the small wording, I don't know what I can be able to do. Maybe I'll just have to explain. So what it is like in Zimbabwe, when the marriage starts by paying lobola, when the two couples fell in love, they have to go and pay the lobola, which is the bride price, and including the cattle or whatever it might be. And when the wife is pregnant, you will be staying with the in-laws. That means the parents of the husband. When she becomes pregnant, it is well respected, because then they take it that they have increased the family. They take that a child born to the husband is part of the husband's family, so they are enlarging their family, and they will take it as very much with much respect. And when the child is born, before the child is born, at the 7 and 8 or 9 months, just before the 9th month, they have to take back the wife to her parents. They have that in mind. The mother is responsible for nurturing and helping the mother with the first pregnancy. So all the emotional needs, all the physical health needs, they think it's much more helpful when they are with their mother, and the wife will feel free to express herself when she is with her own mother rather than the mother-in-law. And they do that again with a celebration. So they will have maybe a cow, a goat, and a mini party to celebrate, and the wife will stay there for the 2 months until she delivers. And when she's there, there are certain food that she's not supposed to eat. She's required to eat, like okra, peanut butter. I know some in this country, peanut butter, they say is, some people might have allergies, but in Africa, in Zimbabwe, it is something that they recommend is it's healthy. So okra, they have the belief that when you eat okra when you are pregnant, it helps with the cervical opening. So when the baby is due, it will not be difficult. And you are allowed to wear flexible dresses that do not suppress the belly. So when you're pregnant, we have got our special dresses, which we call maternity dresses. I do apologize with my silly thing. I don't know what has happened. My oh yeah, it's coming up, isn't it? Are you seeing it clearly if I do it like this?
Yeah, it's good.
We're on page 4.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so this is what I was saying on page 3 about the nationalities and 300 languages in multicultural Britain. Page 4. Yeah, so when the baby is born, they used to have in the olden days those white nappies. I don't know whether you can see them before the Pampers, and you would have them, and they are supposed to be as clean as they are. Even until the baby is 1 year, you are supposed to wash them. If you see them with any stain, you would be regarded as a dirty woman. So I put that statement in Shona, which is written, Kuchenera kunze sebegre manepken. No. In English, it's saying you don't have to be as white as a white nappy or a bag of nappies, which is clean outside, but inside is dirty. So what used to happen is when you're traveling, you would travel with your bag of nappies. When a baby is messed up, you change and you keep those nappies because you were to reuse them and rewash them. So if someone would steal that bag, they would steal that bag anticipating it to be a bag full of money, but it's a bag full of evil or full of dirty things. So they would expect a woman to be clean inside and out because you're going to join the family, the in-laws, and you're supposed to be part of that family. Having the multicultural, joining the culture, joining the family, you have to be part of that family. So if your heart is not all that clean, you won't be able to be part of that family. But it was a saying, now it's no longer there, and we are no longer using these nappies anymore. So when the baby is born, the first 5 days, the baby does not go out. The baby is being washed by the mother, and they have got sort of like the umbilical cord. When it's tied, because when the baby is born, they tie it up. When they tie it up, and where they cut, they leave a knot so that when they can put some herbals for healing, and they believe that the mother will be able to, as an adult, will be able to help to bath without putting water on that navel so that it doesn't get infection. And they whenever they bath the baby, they make sure that they have to give the baby water. So the baby have to just a drop so that the baby knows and will never be able to refrain from water because water doesn't taste. So from birth, a baby is given water. And yeah, so when the baby is being washed and dressed up, and what the mother of the newborn is allowed to sleep and rest while the mother does everything, eating and just feeding, breastfeeding. They also recommend breastfeeding as the most important part of the newborn baby. So, becoming a mother. Yeah, so yeah, for the first 5 days, like I said, the child will be bathed by the mother, and after 5 days, that's when they will introduce you to your baby to teach you how to bath the baby and to take care of your own baby. That's when they will allow to take the baby out for a walk or for anything. Those first 5 days, the baby should be indoors. In these olden days, they used to have like herbals they would boil and give the baby to drink to clean the stomach, the inside. They said they will be having sort of like wind, so they would give them some herbals. But recently there's not, they are now using barley water, or there are certain any I can't remember the name of the bottle that they can buy from the pharmacy that they give them now, but it used to be some herbals. So when after that 5 days, the husband is allowed to come and visit, and the in-laws are allowed to come and see the baby, and they will be able to again plan when they can take back the wife and the baby to their in-laws. And they will do that with a celebration and a cow when she reaches there, because they say now our clan has been enlarged, and yeah, the family is grown up. Any questions? I think I finished.
Any questions for Aristina?
Yeah, Aristina. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
This isn't, I don't know how serious a question this is, but for somebody,
Yes.
well, no, for me, if you don't eat peanuts and okra and all the lovely stuff, then what do you give this woman, potentially me, that doesn't eat okra and peanuts and stuff?
That's a good question. I don't know. But now it's no longer as important as that, because they used to do that before, when there were no many food to eat. So right now we just have to eat whatever you eat, as long as it is meat, whatever it has got proteins. And without the okra thing, I don't it was just a myth. I don't really think here, even myself, I never ate okra, so I never ate C-section or have any. So it was just a belief, maybe.
Oh, thank you.
So, Aristina, what about Zimbabwean dads? Are they at the delivery?
In the olden days, they were not supposed to be. It was only the midwives, because like I said, when you go back to your mother-in-law, to your own mother, it will be your mother and maybe the aunties and elderly midwives who will be there.
But these days, these days, are they there?
Oh, these days is modern. It's modernized. The people go to deliver in the hospitals, and they can be, the husband can be there.
I really love this culture of sort of 7 days or 40 days. I remember when I had my children, particularly my daughter, it's like a free-for-all, everyone coming round all the time, whenever. And I remember saying to my husband, I don't want anybody to come round, just leave me alone. And he was like, well, they've got presents, they're coming. And I was just like mortified. I just wanted peace and quiet. So I definitely think it's something that British culture is missing, that sort of protection of the mum and baby, and special time and quiet time and protective time.
It's funny you said that, Jill, because I don't know if anybody else has experienced this, but a lot of the mums that I should say that I do, a lot of the things they're saying is that they've quite liked this isolation, because it's just been them, their partner and the baby. I mean, apart from driving them crazy in other ways, but they've loved that they've had that time, because normally it would be aunts, uncles, grandparents, visitors, and then people say they're coming to see you and the baby, and then they sit down and you have to go and get them food. I remember doing that as well. Yeah.
I do remember
I think we should roll on the olden days. I think I prefer the olden days.
Yeah, I do remember one of the patients who, the first lockdown, she said she was really worried about having visitor postnatally, and she's blessed that there's a lockdown, so she has a proper rest with her husband and the babies before having kind of visiting and family visiting. It's quite interesting as well to hear.
It can work both ways, because we have a 40-day thing, and actually I lasted 3 weeks and I couldn't bear it of not going out, not doing anything. And so, 40 days is quite a long time for someone.
Yeah, I think what's happened there, because it's very extended families, so you can imagine that your neighbors could be your relatives.
Yeah.
So it's not like you're super kind of alone or not seeing people, I assume. So I don't know, back home it's quite expensive. I do remember, it's like my parents' house, and there's two of my brothers just like 2 doors away from us, two of my sister and the next road to us. So this kind of thing.
Yeah. I think it was like you can't go out, you physically can't leave the house.
Yeah.
For us, whereas I think people could come.
Yeah, and it also depends if it is, I don't know. I just like imagine because I do remember my sisters, because I didn't have that care here because I was on my own with my husband. We don't have any family here. So, but I do remember my sisters when they came to our house to be looked after. I think just because most of houses have big gardens, big houses, so I assume it could be, and if you are in the, I think that's in the urban, but rural, it's even more open.
Yeah.
So there's a very, I just like back home in Iraq, there's a very little vertical buildings, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I like some of the chat that's going on. Jordan hopes that it's a culture that's a kind of the custom that's adopted by the time she has kids. It is true. I think there is something to be said about lockdown with spending that time, quality time, getting to know your baby and that bonding and your partner as well.
Yeah, I just wanted to say as well that what you were saying, Jill, that, you know, I remember when I had my first daughter, I had people coming to the hospital to see me.
Yeah.
Not even waiting until I got out of hospital. And I really felt overwhelmed in the beginning, and people coming around the same day when I come out of hospital.
Yeah.
Holding the baby. And I just felt really vulnerable, to be honest. And I felt, looking back now, I do wish I could have put my foot down more. So when I had my second baby, I made it quite clear, like I didn't want anybody around. And that worked a lot better. And I think it's so important in those early days that you just get to know your baby and you don't have many people around. And it's something definitely when I was a health visitor, we would say to women that it's really important in the early days just to have close people round, not too many.
Yeah.
I can imagine that for some cultures, though, putting your foot down like that or saying you don't want people to come around would be quite offensive, and that it would probably cause a huge amount of trouble in the family and the extended family. I can imagine that.
Yeah.
Grandma to come around, they'll probably disown you, which, you know, isn't always a bad thing, but you know.
Can you imagine though, if you're in the hospital and you've had a traumatic birth and you've got all these people coming to see you, it's the last thing you want. You're so kind of in the moment. It must be pretty awful to then think you've got to be friendly and entertaining, let's say, to visitors.
Yeah.
Just looked up
always the pros and cons, to be quite honest.
Yeah. There's no right way, there's no wrong way.
Yeah, that's true.
I've just looked up the plant okra. It sounds like an amazing plant. There's so much nutrition in it, isn't there?
I can see delicious okra.
I can see why they're recommending it.
No, it's the slimy part of it, which they thought probably is.
Yeah, I was going to say that it's supposed to be nutritious for you, but it's slimy, like you wouldn't believe. And I'm not eating anything like that. Yeah, I'd rather you could take the baby, and yeah, I'm not having it.
I love okra as well.
You need okra to be made for you, Janet, in a really nice way that you wouldn't even notice any slimy stuff.
There is no nice way. There is none.
Oh, so I think after hearing about it here, we'll have to have someone cook it nicely for us so we can do a taster session.
Yeah.
You can tell me how it tastes, and I'll
do a bit of challenge.
Lydia loves the sliminess.
Or we can go to a local curry house.
We're talking about this now. This is making me a bit ill.
I think that leads nicely that we need to perhaps think about our next social gathering, maybe in an Indian restaurant with some okra.
Well, but we are not pregnant, so we might not notice it.
It doesn't matter. I feel pregnant half the time, and I certainly look it half the time, so it doesn't matter. I'm eating okra.
Do they? So they cook it to crisp, Indian people. We make it as a stew with lime leaves.
You do it as a curry, or you can. There's so many ways, crispy ways, all sorts really.
Okay.
A dry curry or a wet curry? Clotilda, you were saying something, but we couldn't hear you.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to have my lunch at the same time and listen to this. Sorry, my mic was off. I was just saying, else in St. Lucia, we do it the same way. We always add ours to soup, and sometimes we add ours and do a mixture of other things with it as well.
Yeah.
Listen, you could cover it in chocolate, and you could make it ice cream flavored. You could make it taste of fish and chips. You could make it taste
Are
like
you
roast
talking
beef.
serious or you joking, Janet?
No, it's just
You
so
could
she
make
wants
it. I don't care what it tastes. I'm not eating it. You could make it look like chocolate. You could
Okay.
cover it in chocolate. You could deep fry it in a Mars bar. I'm not eating it.
Are you sure? I'll bring you some Iraqi then, Okra.
Yeah, there's a challenge there for us all, but I think we should probably move on to the next one because we're being recorded.
Oh, really? Oh my God, we forgot.
It's okay. It's all right. It's important to have conversations like this. So we've got 10 minutes before the next one. We either carry on and finish 10 minutes or so early, or we can have a quick break and come back for the last bit.
Carry on, please.
Can you carry on so we can finish 10 minutes early?
Yeah. What? Anybody else? What do they want? Anybody got any thoughts? Carry on or a quick break?
I'm happy to carry on.
Carry on, please.
Okay, fine, lovely. Right, okay, so let's thank you, Aristina, for that, and let's move on to
I do
Kelly.
apologize. I think I can send it to everyone if you want to read my my slide. I don't know what really happened.
Yeah, we like to put them in the shared drive so people can always come back to, as well as the videos and stuff. So yeah, if you could save them in the shared drive.
Oh, I sent it. Oh, sorry.
Okay, Kelly, over to you. Aristina, do you want to stop sharing?
Oh, maybe I just have to log out because I don't know what happened with my computer. Let me just have to leave and join in.
Okay.
Yeah.
I must say I really love these sessions actually. I'm really enjoying them.
Hello.
Hello.
So it's me next, is it?
It is.
Okay, so let me get my presentation up, see if I can do it. Okay, so go to share. Okay, can you see it?
Yep.
See the Polish culture, you can see the first slide.
We can, yeah.
Great. Okay, so I chose to do Polish culture for a number of reasons. Firstly, both my children are half Polish, and my daughter goes to a school in Wimbledon that when I first took her there were so many Polish people talking. I actually thought it was a Polish school. There's a big Polish community where I live, so when I've been around a lot of Polish people. Also in my health visiting, I used to visit a lot of Polish mums, so I felt that it would be quite interesting to do a bit more research around Polish culture. So that's the reason. So just the map of Poland to show you, and it's located in the heart of the European continent. So it's in between Germany, Republic, near Denmark, and the capital's Warsaw. And it has a population of nearly 38.5 million people, so quite a lot. Poland is one of the most religious countries in Europe. It's predominantly a Catholic country, and it has approximately 90% of Poland's inhabitants are Roman Catholics, and about 75% of them attend church services regularly. So the Roman Catholic religion is at the heart of Poland, and a lot of their customs and traditions are to do with the Roman Catholic religion. In Poland, the family is fundamental to people's lives and society, and it sort of grounds them. Particularly extended relatives, they play a central role, and extended families are often, close family often considered extended families. The elderly are usually very involved with the grandchildren's lives, and elders are usually called uncles or aunties, and even if they're unrelated by blood, they're still highly respected in the communities. Polish people tend to marry at a younger age than other countries in Europe, and they generally usually they discourage living together before marriage. So particularly in Poland, they believe that, you know, there shouldn't be any sex before marriage and that they shouldn't live together. So they're quite strong in their traditional beliefs. Instead of this then, so what they do is the parents usually give financial incentives and allow newlyweds couples to live in their home for the first few years when they first get married, to help set them up to start their life together. And the population is largely united across different social economic backgrounds. But the one thing they share is the family values. It's very strong in Poland. Okay, moving on. So during pregnancy, there's some superstitions that they have. So one of them is if they see a stork mid-flight and they call out to it, this is a symbol of good luck, and it is a prediction that the women will become pregnant shortly. I've never seen a stork mid-flight myself, but I'm sure it would be good luck, because I don't think you see it very often. And they believe that pregnant women should be protected from bad news, so they don't like to frighten or scare pregnant women, because they think it will affect the baby. In the same as other cultures, they believe in eating a healthy diet, and it's important for the growing baby. And they believe that certain activities such as lifting heavy exercise or skipping steps in particular when going upstairs will result in harm to a baby. So they're very careful about what they're doing when they're pregnant. And like I said, you can't frighten an expected mother because the baby may be born with a birthmark. So that's something else that they believe in. And a way to protect one's baby against the influence of potential harm intended by, they call it witches or the evil eye, and I've heard about this in other cultures as well. They use like a red silky ribbon and they put it near the baby. So when they go outside as well, the home, where they believe the dangers grow, a ribbon is also tied around the stroller, usually to the handle with a flowery knot. And this functions as a sort of shield to ensure the baby's safety when out and about and discovering the world. What is not customary in Poland is to give gifts before the baby is born. It's supposed to bring bad luck, so they don't believe in any baby showers at all before the baby is born. And after giving birth, traditionally the practice is 15 days of bed rest, and the grandparents sometimes stay in the early postnatal period to provide support and guidance. As I said before, elders are considered really wise, and advice about child rearing is accepted, and sometimes more than professional advice. And this is where sometimes the conflict can come between professionals and family, because a lot of Polish women do look up to their elders and listen to their advice. Breastfeeding is very important and supported and encouraged in Poland, although it is encouraged in the beginning and it has high rates. As the baby grows, it does fall quite rapidly, and that's really because of the support that they get from professionals. There isn't as much support as in the UK for breastfeeding. To help with the milk supply, women are encouraged to drink warm milk and hot tea. And a new baby is not usually taken out in public for the first month, and visitors to the homes are discouraged. So when visitors do come to see the baby, they greet them when they greet them for the first time. A tradition is to stuff money down the front of its little onesies, and this is called Polish money. And they are to keep it and not spend it. So that's one of their little traditions. And usually the family celebrations of when the baby's born take place when the baby's baptized. And this is a really significant part of Polish culture. and I'll talk about that a little bit more after. So another tradition that I found out through doing research is that on the first birthday, there's a tradition that some Polish people do. And what they do is they line up 3 items. So it's a shot glass, a silver coin, and a rosary in front of the baby. And it's said that whatever one the child picks first will determine what they will be like in the future. So the glass shot is represents ongoing, like the baby will be really socialized and people orientated. The coin is to prosper and to be ambitious and driven in business and sort of business orientated. And the rosary is to be religious, spiritual and awareness orientated. So whichever one they pick first will sort of indicate what they'll be like in the future. So I thought that was quite interesting to explain to you. Another thing that's really significant in Poland, and it is in some other European countries as well, is naming day. So Poland is one of the countries that do this, and it's even more traditional than a birthday. And so in their culture, they see it as a very special moment for the whole family to give a name to a newborn baby. So Poland, I think it's 95% of society named their child or baby in the church during the celebration of the baptism. So that's sometimes when they're actually announced the name in that religious ceremony, because it's so important. And in the past, a child's name was supposed to signify something important, and people believe that they had some magical powers or special meanings. So the name day has its history in the Polish tradition of naming children after saints. The importance of the saints and their fest days resulted in many parents looking to the local priest or the Roman calendar to name their children. And they typically chose the name of a saint that had a feast day close to the birth of their child. And the name has always been very important, even more important than the surname. In modern times, it was generally a time. So in modern times, it's generally a time for families to celebrate, and they give small gifts. And it's really important that you don't forget the names day. And what they do is all over Poland, they have these calendars. And as you can see the picture, they have the names underneath the numbers, and they have them everywhere, and they display it in public places. And it's for people not to forget to buy a gift on people's names days. So that's how important it is. And I was reading that when Polish people went to America, instead of giving their date of birth, they would give the date of birth of their names day instead, because it was that important to them. Yeah, so that's that. So coming on to the baptism of a child, it's so the Catholic baptism traditions dictate that an infant should be baptized within the first couple of months after birth. And the reason for this Catholic tradition is to remove original sin. And this is something that Polish people are really, really strict on this. And they, with their babies, they do it sometimes in the early first few weeks, because they think it's really important. And the Catholic religion believes that if an infant dies before baptism, he or she can't enter the kingdom of heaven. And this is the reason why the sacrament of the baptism is so important to the Catholic baby. One of the most important duties of the parent before the baptism is to choose the godparents for the infant. And it's really important that they choose the correct godparents, because they have quite important responsibilities in raising the baptized child in the Catholic faith if the parents are unavailable to do so. And particularly if the parents were to die or something was to happen, they would be the ones that would raise the child in the faith and take the child on. So it is a really important and big decision to make for Polish people. The baptism ceremony has many symbols dealing with the faith, life, the family and God. And tracing the sign of the cross on the infant's forehead is claiming the baby for the Jesus Christ. And the most important ritual of the Catholic baptism is pouring holy water on the infant's head, as you can see in the picture, baptizing the child in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. This summarizes the child being reborn as sin is washed away. And that's the most significant part of it. And part of the baptism traditions and is for infants. They're dressed in white with a white robe and a bonnet usually, and the godfather, they light a candle, and when the baby is being baptized, the godfather and godmother sometimes buy the child a silver spoon, since being fed with a silver spoon when you are young is to guarantee a good prosperous life. So that's what they believe, and that's why they give it. And that beautiful picture of that baby is actually my baby when she was baptized. And as you can see, she's wearing all the traditional clothes, the robe and the bonnet. So I thought I'd add that for you to see. And just moving on to just the medical model really of Poland, and this was something that I found out through researching, and it was something that some Polish women have explained to me before as well. But although the structure and the principles in Poland of healthcare are free and it's a universal access, the maternity care in Poland is quite complicated. They have a mix of private and public services, and your ability to pay has a huge impact on the quality of service that you receive. And so pregnancy is more medically managed in Poland, with more frequent hospital visits and many more scans than in the UK. And most women that give birth in hospital with almost no community-based alternatives. So giving birth at home is not really an alternative. The C-section rates are really high in Poland compared to other European countries. And hospitals rarely practice early discharges schemes, even if the woman is healthy and there's no problems. And it usually ranges from about 4 to 4.5 days. So a lot longer than in the UK, because I mean, as we know, that if everything all goes well in hospital, you can be out the same day, whereas in Poland that doesn't happen. And in the Polish society, there's quite a hierarchy of social positions, and this has been quite long-standing between sort of the rural population and the urban throughout history. And so when it comes to perinatal services, women with sort of like a higher education are more frequently asked sort of permission and given informed consent to sort of medical procedures more than women that are not. And this is particularly the case in sort of episiotomies. There was a time when episiotomies in Poland were done routinely. It wasn't if it needed to be done as a medical reason, it would just be routinely done. And nowadays it's not as much, but if you're from a higher education background, you are more likely to get permission to do those type of things. And before January 2019, there was no sort of established solutions regarding the screening and assessment and treatment of women suffering from perinatal depression. It didn't exist in Poland. A lot of the time they would go to their elders or family members for help and support. And it wasn't until really 2019 that a new standard of perinatal care was proposed, and that they came up with something in order to monitor the mental state of women during pregnancy and in the postpartum period. And this really fell on the midwives. The midwives have a big responsibility in Poland for a lot of the perinatal care. And research recently showed that actually midwives do not feel confident asking the question still in Poland about women's mental health. So it's still an area that needs more work on really and exploring. And that's the end of my presentation. Has anyone got any questions?
I love the baby on its first birthday being able to choose like just what it goes to, and it kind of, you know, they feel it predicts what they might be like as they get older.
Yes, yes, yeah, I
Yeah.
found that quite interesting. Any other questions? Shireen? Oh no, Charmaine.
Yeah, that was me. I was just listening to it. It's kind of really interesting because it actually shares quite a lot of beliefs and customs with my country, the Philippines. Kind of like when we visit our a newborn baby, we actually have to give money as well, kind of just as a gesture, and things around kind of the customs around baptism, kind of Philippines being from a Roman Catholic religion as well. That was one of the predominant things that we do, kind of the choosing of the godparents and things. So yeah, that was really interesting to kind of notice that other cultures share that as well. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I have noticed, isn't it? There's a lot of Polish mums tend to be younger, don't they? You know, and they definitely do notice that they do marry younger, isn't it? And I mean, I don't know. I mean, how many children they tend to have. I mean, often you know, you see them with, I don't know whether they have a longer gap between children as well. You know, you see them at school, you know, with maybe, you know, yeah, quite an extended gap sometimes between children. I don't know whether they plan it that way or just something I've noticed.
Yeah, I think that in especially Polish culture, it is. I mean, I don't see many having just one child. I think in their culture it's important to have more than one child, because family is so important, and a lot of Polish people do come from bigger families, so it's and when they get married, it's almost assumed that straight away they're going to start having children. There's no sort of a year gap or two before you have children. A lot of Polish people will tend to straight away try to have a baby.
Is there a sort of taboo about contraception in Poland, or is that kind of not a thing?
No, there isn't a taboo.
It's quite common in Roman Catholic culture to not use contraception, isn't it?
I think when they're newlywed, contraception is not really used. But what I would say is that abortion is really a hot topic in Poland, particularly recently, actually, because they've passed the bill that you can only have an abortion for exceptional circumstances, and it's because Poland, the Roman Catholic religion does influence the politics in Poland a lot.
Same as Ireland.
Yeah, so and I know there was a lot of protests in Poland when they were passing that about abortion. I think it's only if the mother's life is at risk, and if there's a genetic health condition with the baby, but even that has to be quite specific. They don't believe in any other reasons. And so a lot of Polish women do go to other countries if they need to have a termination. So I know that they're really strict on that.
Yeah, I think that's to do with religion, because I'm Catholic, Rasheen, you know what I mean? I think when you're Catholic, them sort of things are all set in the same line. But obviously today's era that we're in, that's being broken. Yeah, because of life and how it is. Because same for us, we're not supposed to have contraceptives, but obviously we can't just keep having babies every year or every whenever. Yeah. But I think,
so are there no traditional methods of contraception or of preventing to be pregnant then?
no, it's just don't
Carry on
do it.
breastfeeding.
Yeah.
That's what
there's always been family planning, because you know, once upon a time, family planning as in, you know, using your natural body cycle, isn't it, to plan your family around, etc. So I think traditionally it was about family planning, knowing your own body, etc. But I mean, obviously big families did happen then as a result of that, but now most people use contraception.
But also same with the breastfeeding, for some women, they don't realise for breastfeeding to work, you need to exclusively breastfeed all the time. You know, if you express or you miss, it affects your chance, you can get pregnant. So it's not really, I wouldn't say it's 100% safe, really.
Kelly, I'm really interested to hear about how much of the Polish culture that you had to take on, or how much did you take on, having your children, and like, are they named after name days, or do you celebrate that?
Yeah, so my first daughter, she doesn't have a Polish name, but you can sort of, if you go onto a website, you can put the name in and it will give you the most similar name to it, so you can do it that way. But my second one does. So yeah, the Polish name, we do celebrate it. Yeah, their Polish name, they know when it is on the calendar and they do celebrate it. And like I say, my daughter goes to a Catholic primary school, and a lot of her friends are Polish. And the first day we went, I thought it was a Polish school. I honestly did, because so many people were speaking Polish. And so yeah, we do try to eat the meals, the traditional meals, and particularly Easter is important in Poland. The way they do things, they have like 12 dishes. And it's all laid out nicely, and so we do try to do some of it. Yeah, and we have been to Poland, and when I went there, I could definitely see the difference in terms of religion. It's very, very strict. They've out there, everything, their whole lifestyle and their way of life is around their religion. It's clear to see. Yeah.
Great. Any other messages?
Just another great afternoon.
Messages. Yeah, it's been really, really fascinating. I'm really enjoying these. I've just put in the chat the next session and who's presenting. So yeah, looks great. No, Lydia, we are not going to give you an easy ride. If anything, you need to
2 days before your birthday. What difference is that going to make for you?
Oh dear. Okay, I'm going to stop recording. So that's that.